My name's Maxine Pepper and married to David, and we've been coming to Holy Trinity now for over 10 years. I was born in Burbage, into a Methodist family, Sunday school every Sunday and in the morning, so it was 2 visits every Sunday. Very loving family. My grandmother was a superintendent at the church, so we had a real feel for love, and the church felt very loving, so it felt like an extension of our own family. And so Jesus played a big part in my growing up. When I was 14, we had a lay preacher come to the church to talk to us, and I think that was perhaps my epiphany that people say they have about God. He was inspirational, and I was so shocked when he walked in because he was actually our deputy headmaster, so that was a big surprise for us. But he was really inspiring. And I went on, I became a Sunday school teacher, and at 16 I took my membership exams. We had to sit for exams then. So we had 6 months of studying and then an exam, and I became a member of the church. When I was 17, I left school and went on to do my training at the George Eliot to become a state registered nurse. So church and Sunday school took a bit of a blow really, in a back seat because of shift work. After I qualified, I moved after a year to Dudley in the West Midlands, where I was the youngest ward sister in the country at that time. You had to earn your stripes then, but I was very lucky. So that was the start of my nursing career, and I can honestly say, hand on heart, that I've loved every day of it. It's been a real vocation for me, and I know that's not a word they use very often these days, but it really was. And then I moved back home and started district nursing and worked in the community in Hinckley, and got married and had 2 incredible children who are now young adults, and I'm immensely proud of them. Both of them had near-death experiences, not at the same time, but Daniel when he was 5 and then Georgina when she was 7. And I cannot tell you the power of prayer at that time. And as a family we came together and we all prayed together, because that was a really dark time for us. Fortunately they're both recovered and they're both absolutely fine. But when I moved back to Hinckley, I moved churches. Because we lived in Hinckley then, and that was fine. And then 20 years later, that marriage broke up. He said, I'm going. We've been married 20 years, and I was like, okay. And I became a single mum with 2 young children, and one was a teenager, and that was tricky. I had lots of support from family, lots of support from friends, and turned to the church for support and didn't find it there, and found it very isolated. I felt very isolated, I felt very alone, and it tested my faith. I thought, where is God when I really need that support? He hasn't put the people in place to support me there. And that was a dark time really. Like I said, it's not easy, but I found the faith in the friends that I'd got that were Christian friends, and they'd talk to me and we'd pray together, and that really helped. But what I really wanted to do was go back into a church family and have that sense of being cuddled almost, because it's a time of grieving. However you look at it, it's a time of grieving. So yes, I did feel a bit alone with that grief. A few years passed, And then David and I reconnected. David and I went to school together and went out together at school. And he won't tell everybody that I dumped him. So we reconnected and decided that we were looking for a church together. David was doing the Alpha course at work, and the person, someone that was on the course with him, knew Tim Oglesby, and the rest is history really. We came here, and from the first day that we arrived, Tim welcomed us at the door, and it felt like coming home. It was, this feels like family, and it has done from that first day. And that's the kind of feeling I think a church should feel like. I know it's the people in it, and that's what makes the difference. And there's a lot of love in this church. Christianity is true, I believe. We can't see God, but we can't see oxygen either. And we can't live without oxygen, and I feel that we can't live without God. And that's my belief. I've never doubted Jesus and his sacrifice, and I know that sacrifice was for me. And I can't imagine not believing, if that makes sense. Prayer is supportive. I know God hears me. He doesn't always answer as quickly as I'd perhaps like him to, but he gives me an answer eventually. I've recently retired in the last almost 3 years now, after working for 25 years for Macmillan. Again, another challenging job, but so rewarding. Absolutely loved it. I found it a huge privilege to look after people when they were sick. And more importantly, even in the early days, people that were palliatively being treated and those that were dying, I felt that I had a kind of connection. And that was, I feel now looking back, because you see things in retrospect, that was God at work in me. And he was giving me the tools to be able to sit with people. And when people say, why is this happening to me? Sometimes patients would say, why not me? And that was quite profound too. What is it like being a Christian? It's tough at times. It's really, really difficult with those that aren't Christian. But I've found particularly over the last few years, more and more of my friends are Christian friends, and I think we seek out each other, and we start to develop new relationships, including God in them. And it's good to have God to talk to. He's a friend you can't see, but you know that he's there. And what might I say to someone that was looking to come into church, that was a little bit on the outside? First of all, I'd say come in. Come and test the waters, come and see what it's like. What have you got to lose? And can I come alongside you? Can I come with you the first time you come in, so that you feel that there's someone there with you, a friend? Because that's what it feels like. It's coming into a place where there are friends, and not to be frightened. There's nothing to fear. And I'd just really like to share that in my first Bible that I had when I must have been 7 or 8, my grandma wrote, "Your word is a lamp for my feet and a light on my path." And I think, like I said earlier, God has given me that lit path for me to follow. So I just feel very, very lucky and very blessed.